Hello everybody and welcome to the NetBird channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install NetBird directly on pfSense using our new official package. If you're not familiar with NetBird, it is a zero trust network access platform based on WireGuard that creates a secure overlay network for either your business, your customers, or your home network. It enables either direct peer-to-peer connections or can act as a network route to access any devices on your local network. So what does this integration bring to the table? When you install NetBird on your pfSense device, you're essentially cloaking your entire network. Your pfSense firewall and all the resources behind it do not need to be visible to the public internet, including when making these resources remotely accessible. Even your pfSense management interface is protected from direct access by adversaries. This is perfect for securing office networks, home labs, remote sites, or any infrastructure where you need controlled access. You can grant employees, contractors, or partners access to specific resources without exposing anything or opening ports. And through NetBird's access control policies, you maintain granular control over who can access what. So with all that, let's get into the actual installation. And it's important to note that as of the time of this video, our official plugin is still under review by the pfSense maintainers, but this feature has been so highly requested that we're going to show you how to manually install it today. Once this plugin is officially available, we'll update the documentation linked down below. One of the great things about pfSense is its versatility. You can install it on just about anything. I actually have it running right here on this little single board computer. Has two Ethernet ports, one for WAN and one for LAN. Perfect. And this running pfSense with the NetBird plugin has been working fantastic. So let's go ahead, dive on in, and get you set up with some secure remote access to your pfSense network. So here we are in pfSense, and the very first thing that we're going to want to do is actually install NetBird. And to do this, we're going to have to give ourselves SSH access so we can do this through the terminal. Up in the top navigation bar, click on System and then Advanced. Within these settings, you're going to want to scroll down to Secure Shell and check the box that says Enable Secure Shell. Then scroll down and save these changes. Now we can bring in the terminal and SSH using the root user into our pfSense instance using its local IP address. We're going to authenticate and then type in our password. Next, we're going to select option 8 to enter the shell, and then head over to the NetBird documentation to get the packages that we're going to need to download. There are going to be two of them, and we're just going to simply use a fetch command to pull those two packages, which you can see I've done here. And then to install the packages, we just do a package add-f command with both of the packages and ignoring that kernel warning for the first one. So with the packages installed, we could head back over to pfSense, give the page a quick refresh, and then under VPN, we have an option for NetBird here. You can see NetBird is not connected, so what we're going to need to do is head over to our NetBird management panel and generate a setup key. All we need to do is click on Create Setup Key, and here we could go ahead and give our key a name. I'm not going to select any options here as we're only going to be using it once, but I will add it to a group, so then this pfSense machine is automatically assigned to the pfSense group. So let's copy that setup key and then paste it on into the setup key options in the settings, and then click on connect. After some time, you'll see that NetBird is now connected. Now there are a bunch of different settings that we could go ahead and use and go through, including this one right here that says enable firewall. This is where it's going to be important to know our firewall strategy. You have the choice between managing the firewall in NetBird's UI or within the pfSense firewall settings. A common strategy is to allow all traffic on one side and create granular rules in the other. For example, you could create a wide open allow all rule in pfSense for the NetBird interface and then manage access strictly within NetBird policies, which we are going to do. So here, if you keep this box checked, we will be primarily using NetBird to manage rules and policies. While if we decide to uncheck this box, you must manually create allow rules within the pfSense firewall to permit any traffic over the NetBird network. I'm going to go ahead and keep this checked, but when we talk about DNS routing and accessing the pfSense system directly through NetBird, we will be creating some firewall rules. Another thing to note here is the status page. You could get a lot of information about your current NetBird connection, including the connected signal and relay servers, your NetBird DNS name, your NetBird IP address, and more. And we could see if we head back over to the NetBird management panel, we have our connected instance of pfSense right here with that same information. And another little tip and a way to get even more information is to run pfSense commands through the pfSense GUI. And to do that, you're going to want to head up to Diagnostics prompt, and here we can execute shell commands. For example, NetBird status, if I type that and click on execute, it will give us a lot of the same information that is available in the status NetBird page. If I go ahead and add a -D, it's going to give us a lot more information, including events, connected networks, and much more. And if I wanted to see specific information on the interface that NetBird is using, I could type in ifconfig wt0, execute that, and here we could see that it is in fact connected with our NetBird IP address on that tunnel group. Now with all that set up and everything ready to go, let's dive into actually setting it up so we can access resources on our network. We're going to be doing this with the networks feature and enabling our pfSense device here as our routing peer, so any devices on its network it can see and it can route connections to those devices, whether it be other servers, IoT devices, and so forth. So in the NetBird management dashboard, we're going to go over to networks. We're going to add a network, and we could call this whatever we want. I'm going to call this pfSense subnet because I'm going to be giving access to that entire subnet. So when we add the network, we'll have the option to add a resource, which we're going to go ahead and do. We're going to give this resource a name, and this is going to be our main subnet. And we're going to give access to that whole subnet with the IP ending at 0, with the mask at 24. And we're going to give this resource a destination group. We're going to create a new one, and we're going to call this pfSense net. So then I can assign people to the net access group, so then they can use it. So now we're going to want to go ahead and create a policy. And you can see the destination automatically filled in with pfSense net access. And I'm going to give some user groups access to this, including my users, my IT admins, and my VPS or offsite machines. For this, I'm going to keep all, but you can go granular with how you want this to work, whether that be specific ports or switching it to ICMP in this example. For this, we're going to skip posture checks, and for the name and description, we can just keep it as is. So let's add that policy. And now we want to add a routing peer, so the actual device that is going to be used to see all those internal resources in our network. And for this, we're going to select that new pfSense peer that we just added. So let's continue. We could keep all these settings as is, and now we've set up our network routing peer. And if we go into the actual network, we can see all the information, including the IP addresses and more. Now, if we head back to this page, we can actually run some status commands to see that network available, which you can see right here under networks. And we could test this out by opening up our command prompt. I'm connecting from that Ubuntu offsite VPS, run a quick status command. And if I scroll up a little bit to our pfSense peer, right here under networks, we can see that network is connected. And I could test this connection by pinging a local resource. So I'm going to head over to my DHCP leases and see what we got going on. We could see an Ubuntu server there. So if I try to ping that local server on my network from an offsite resource, hit enter, you can see I am able to successfully ping that internal resource. And just to test policies real quick, I'm going to disable the default policy, which is all to all. Ping it again, you can see it still works with our main subnet policy. But now if I go ahead and disable this main subnet policy, we can see that the connection here for the ping has timed out because I don't have access to that resource anymore. But if I head back, re-enable that main subnet policy, we can see that the ping has re-established connection. So just like that, using NetBird, you now have access to internal resources from anywhere in the world. Now it's important to note here that to use some of the other features such as setting up DNS routes, maybe you want to set up an exit node, or even access your pfSense management panel or GUI with the NetBird IP addresses, you are going to want to enable some firewall rules within pfSense. You could do an all-encompassing allow rule just so everything works, but that's really not the best for security. Luckily, pfSense makes it incredibly simple to set this up, and when we set up the NetBird interface, you can set policies for NetBird networks or subnets, NetBird IP addresses, and you can get very specific with specific IP addresses. It's your firewall. You can configure it how you want to for your security. Now, I do want you to subscribe because in an upcoming video, we're going to go over some use case examples and some more demonstrations with pfSense and OpenSense, going over how to set up things like exit nodes, use DNS routing, and all of those extra features that make NetBird great. So do make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that video. And with all that, I do hope you enjoy running NetBird on pfSense. With all that, have a beautiful day and goodbye.